And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. It is game day, and we are going to be going over the injury report going into today's game with the Washington Commanders versus the Baltimore Ravens. We're also going to be looking at, can the Commanders defense get it done against the Ravens? That is going to be the big question. Are they going to be ready against this offense, which is certainly going to test the Commanders defense? And so let us go ahead and first talk about some of the key injuries going into this game for the Commanders. And so, starting with our offensive line, we are going to more than likely have Nick Allegretti out there. Looks like that he had been dealing with an ankle. Looks like he doesn't have any injury designation going into this one. Noah Brown, who had been playing very well, missed last week with the groin injury. Looks like he is on pace to play. And I think some really key additions in the secondary are going to be set to go. So Quan Martin, he's returned back to practice. He was limited. Looks like he is ready to go. We do have Emmanuel Forbes Jr., who has been back for 2 weeks now after returning from the thumb surgery. We also have Percy Butler, who was a full practice participant with a groin injury. Looks like he is going to be coming back as well. And then also, too, we have Dante Fowler Jr. as well coming back. Looks like he had a little bit of an injury, or not injury, illness, excuse me, on Wednesday. And so that is just to give you a little bit of the injury update. Then also, too, we have Brian Robinson Jr. It looks like he is going to be a game time decision going into this thing. He did have 2 touchdowns last week. He was limited for the most part. We leaned a lot on Jeremy McNichols. I think that we are going to lean somewhat on Austin Eckler in this one too. He was limited throughout the week with a heel injury. Looks like he is good to go. So I think that both of those players are going to be huge, along with Jaden Daniels. I think he is going to be obviously counted on as a runner too. Hopefully he's smart, but that is just to give us a little bit of an injury update as far as what is going on with the Commanders. Also, too, just going into this thing that is questionable for the Baltimore Ravens. They have Marlon Humphreys. I think that he is questionable going into this game. So more than likely, we will see what that is going to look like. And so with that being said, let's shift focus now and let's take a look at this question. Can the Commanders defense take care of business against the Ravens? Because they are certainly going to have to do this if they want to win this football game. And I think that, Joe Witt Jr., this defense, what they're going to have to do is they have got to be disciplined and they got to make sure that they tackle well. I think that that is going to be huge. I think for the Washington Commanders is, can they go ahead and tackle well? I think that when you look at what Derrick Henry does, what Lamar Jackson do, I think that they do a great job as far as making plays after the initial contact. You saw that last week with the stiff arm play and then Lamar Jackson getting loose for the throw. Like, this is what he does in the run game as well. Like, he finds ways to get loose. And then also, too, with Derrick Henry, like, he is going to run through a lot of these arm tackles and things like that. So he is going to challenge the Commanders to really be disciplined as far as tackling. I think that that is going to be key number one for the Commanders. Can they tackle well? Because, look, if you can tackle well and you can make this defense, or excuse me, make this Ravens offense go to throwing the football, I think that you have a great chance. And so, one of the things to look at is that, last year with the Titans, Derrick Henry averaged 68.6 rushing yards per game, 4.2 yards per carry, which was his worst since 2018. And I think that if you can keep Derrick Henry right around the 70, 80-yard mark in this particular game, I think that you're going to be looking pretty good, because you don't want him to get to what he has been doing as of late. Right now, he's at the NFL best of 114.4 yards rushing per game with 6 yards per carry. I mean, this guy is literally gashing defenses, and you don't want him to do that because then now it looks like the Ravens offense is able to open you up a little bit more because now that play action, the RPOs are going to be there. You have got to make sure that you go ahead and you eliminate that run game. Next up, talking about just coverage in the secondary, I think that that is going to be huge because you are going to get a lot of RPOs with the Ravens. I think that you see that in the picture right now where it could be either the handoff or it could go into the pass. And I think that, the corners and the safeties are going to have to stay connected to Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, and just all the wide receivers or tight ends that the Ravens have. You have to stay connected out there because if you don't, I think that that is where the Ravens can definitely make some plays out here. And so, we're hoping that they're able to stay up to par in coverage. So that means that Mike Samra still, he's going to have to make sure that he stays tight with his man and make sure that you don't give up the big plays. Emmanuel Forbes Jr., who has given up big plays, he cannot do that. Quan Martin and these guys on the back end are going to have to make sure that they keep everything in front of them and just do not give up huge plays, because I talked about this before on the last podcast that if you can make Lamar Jackson go down the field and you make him throw, footballs that are 20 plus, you have a great chance and perhaps maybe coming out on the winning end here. I talked about the fact that, he has really struggled going down the field. He's 4 of 17 on pass attempts of 20 or more, only at 23%. And I believe that it is only Will Levis, Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett. They have worse percentages there. So you want to make sure that you try to get him to maybe go for the big plays. He's not getting you on those elusive scrambles and then letting his playmakers make plays down the field. You have got to find a way to shut that down. So, yeah, 4 of 17 on passes more than 20 yards at 23.5%. The Commanders have got to find a way to definitely stop those huge plays from the Ravens. And so next up, as we continue on, and we talked about great tackling, we talked about the fact that they have got to cover, well, and stay disciplined. Looking at what the Commanders are going to have to do offensively, it starts with Jaden Daniels. And I think that Jaden Daniels, again, I talked about how he leads the league with completions at 77.1. He is going to have to be accurate because I think that there's going to be some tight windows here. The front four of the Ravens are certainly going to be coming after him. They're going to be trying to definitely rattle him a lot more. I think that you can expect a lot more exotic blitzes and things like that. And one of the things that is going to be key for the Commanders here is that going into this thing, this is based off what was talked about on Locked On Commanders, their crossover episode where they had the Ravens host, and then also too, you have David Harrison, who is the Washington Commanders host, to talk about the fact that the Ravens are 15-2 against rookie quarterbacks since John Harbaugh has been there. And so that means that Jaden Daniels is going to need to keep that completion rate good. He's also going to need to continue to keep the Washington Commanders momentum moving forward and keep them ahead of schedule as far as the markers. I think that this is going to be a game where you have to dominate the time of possession if you want to beat the Ravens. In fact, I think that that's actually going to factor into the defensive principle because you give the defense more chances because you shorten the possessions of the Ravens and you just make it to where they just need to get a stop. That way, maybe you can steal a possession and perhaps get a score that has the Ravens chasing late in the game. So I think that that is going to be really huge for us. And so can Jaden Daniels continue on at this historical pace? Right now, he's the first player in NFL history with 1,000 yards passing and 250 yards rushing in his first 5 games. He is going to still need to remain phenomenal and continue to stay composed and not be sped up by the Ravens defense in order for them to upset the Ravens here. So I still like my Washington Commanders. Yes, I'm picking them. I don't care. I think that they take this one 38-34. We'll see what happens. We'll be back for a post game. So this is Rico. This is Washington Commanders Insider. Let me know what your thoughts are. We'll be talking a little post game. Enjoy the game. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.